Good evening. Hey, Christy. Sharky, ¿qué pasa? Danelle, how are you? Lori, Viola, Trish. How y'all doing tonight? Eunice? Is that Evie? Evie Ram or Evie? I'll go with Evie. Hey, Shanae. Ileana, hi there. Wendy, Nick Karen, Maggie, Blanca, Nadia, hey, what's up? Just pulling a quickie tonight. Just want to give you an update. I just talked to John. It took me a while to get on because I was discussing with him about tomorrow. He's on the road coming back from Gatesville. He saw his mom today and Sunday. So he'll be on tomorrow. I'm going to try to figure out what time. It's going to be in the middle of the day. It'll be very short notice. And I don't want to keep him on for any long amount of time because he's got to pack. He's going to get home after midnight tonight. He'll have tomorrow. He's got to pack, and then they're going to Dallas. He's going to speak at some event. I'm going to get the info on that tomorrow as well. So I don't want to take a lot of his time. I know, he's busy coming down to the very important days right now, and I know he's going to be pulled in all kind of directions, and I don't want to be a burden on him. So I told him, hey, give me whatever little time you can. The people want to hear from you and hear how it's going. So, yeah, he's good with it. So at some point tomorrow, again, it's going to be short notice. So look out for that. Make sure you got your notifications turned on, please. Let's see. Maggie May. Hi there. Blanca. Ila. Welcome. Eunice. Let's see. Solo. Lori Camacho. Lisa. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Corina. Nothing new yet. Everything is in motion. We're just waiting for the Department of Paroles and Pardons to make their ruling. So one can assume that they're looking through things. And it's a nerve-wracking time for everybody right now. So we're in this crappy position where all you got to do is wait, and there's nothing else to do right now. That's the bummer part. Just wait. Wait. That's all you can do. So in the next few days, I will have just want to inform you guys a little bit about, you guys have heard the comments. The comments have been said about, let's not keep him in prison for life. I don't want my taxpayer dollars going there. Right? You guys have heard this before? Who's heard that before? I don't want my taxpayer dollars, keep supporting that guy. He's going to be alive. He's on death row. Well, there's a lot of misconception about that, about who actually pays for that, and where do the funds come to support everybody on death row or in prison, for that matter. The Texas Department of Criminal Justice. How does it work? So I'm thinking I'm going to try to do that for Thursday night show. It's going to be really interesting and very eye-opening, and might have a guest for that as well. Somebody's asking, hey, Scarlett, hey, La Mera Mera, thanks for joining us. June, if they stop the execution, will she be released? Not necessarily. It depends what else is attached to that. If it's just a stay, it could be a temporary stay, 30 days or 15 days or 90 days. That means that they want to look at everything. Doesn't mean she'll be released. After they look at everything, then they can decide. Or the governor might say, you know what? Let's call this time served. And I may have Lynn Marie back. I'll see if she's available tomorrow. Lynn, if you're watching, I might need you tomorrow night. Just some things that I don't know how to answer. And so she can. I'll see if I can get her back on tomorrow night. It's going to be early. It's not going to be at 10:30 tomorrow. It'll be 8 o'clock. I'm thinking 8 o'clock tomorrow night. And very informative. And then with John, it's going to be earlier, though. It's going to be afternoon. I don't know, 1 or 2 o'clock, 2 or 3 o'clock. So, John, in case you're listening, that's a time I'm looking at, but I'll go with whatever you want to do. I don't want to do it too early because you're driving and you're going to be up late, and you need to get some rest. So I'll try to get those answers for you tomorrow. Praying they are, and I will light a candle for prayer. Man, thank you so much. That's awesome. Praying to decide. I mean, the feeling is good, right? The feeling is good. Hey, Purely Nanda, hi. Thanks for stopping by. Valley Girl. Yes, Lynn Marie. I'm gonna make her come on tomorrow night. She doesn't know that yet, but I'm gonna make her come tomorrow night. Hey, Denise. Welcome, Veronica. Hi there. I know, right? Everybody, Lynn Marie. So we'll see. Hi, Wendy. Just curious, did you guys think much about the last night's show, looking at all that video footage? How does that sit with you all night and into today? It's a lot to take in and a lot of misinformation that's out there. A lot of misinformation, and trying to get out the right... trying to get the right information out is one thing, but trying to get certain people to actually listen to it and be reasonable is a whole other story. She doesn't agree to anything. To come on the show, yeah, she won't. She won't. And I have not seen her too much on TikTok lately. All honesty, I don't look for her. But usually when she comes on, somebody will message me and say, she's on. And she hasn't been. Yeah, no, she has not. Hey, sure. Someone said, if you have any legal authority to give answers concerning a legal case to the public. I said, I think they were like, yeah, right. I don't need legal authority. These are just my opinions. I can give my opinions on anything I want. Lynn Marie, it's another story. She's actively working with that case, so there's a lot of things she can't say. And that's okay. I'm not going to put her on the spot for that. And she wouldn't allow it anyway. I'm not worried about that. Team Melissa is getting more support from me. Yeah, so last night, Kim Kardashian announced, I wouldn't know if I call it support, but she's trying to raise awareness for it. And Kim Kardashian, a lot of people listen whenever she tweets or talks. She's got a lot of followers. And it'd be nice to... It'd be nice for a big show of support to come from that camp and those people. Afterwards, I think it was last night or this morning, I can't remember now, I did send out a tweet and I attached Kim Kardashian, Susan Sarandon, Marianne Williamson, Eva Longoria, and there was somebody else. I'm forgetting. One more person. See if that gets around. And I attached a video to it. And, hopefully something good will come from that. Wouldn't it be cool if Kim Kardashian, and I invited her to pop on with, when I'm going to have John tomorrow. And wouldn't it be cool if she'd say, okay, I'll come on just to say hi. Like, how awesome would that be? I'm not pretending it's going to happen, but it's just it's nice to think about. Nice little fantasy about her being on a show, right? Wendy, thank you for what you're doing, how you're presenting the facts in the case. That's all I'm trying to do, Wendy. Yep, thank you. I just want to put it out there. People need to hear this stuff. Hey, Isabel, Lauren, I saw the Kim K post. A lot of people commenting on her posts have wrong. I know everybody's like, let her die. She belongs. It's like, God, what you got people talking about? Calm down. Everybody's. It's not a good vibe, not a good vibe at all. But a lot of these people don't really care, They might have heard about the interviews. They might have heard the name, or she must be guilty. If she's on death row, she must be guilty. And that's how ignorant some people are. They don't want to hear about anything. All they know is, she must be. She must be. Telemundo. Yeah, that was probably from last week because they were here at the courthouse interviewing John. Yep, he's been tagged. Matthew McConaughey. Hi, Edmont. Selena just made a video stating she spent. I gotta go check that out. Gotcha. We'll do it tomorrow. Denise, call me tomorrow. Yep, saw that. Hey, there's John. How you doing, John? John's on his way back from Gatesville. He's headed back home to Harlingen, and very tired, I'm sure. Hopefully you had a good visit with Mom, and just a little bit of time. I know you're busy, bro, and talk to me tomorrow, and we'll spend a few minutes. Everybody is excited to hear from you, and everybody wishes your mom well. For the most part, everybody's wishing your mom well. Don't listen to all the negative crap out there. Hi, Sandra. So you were the one who told her about Lucio? Oh, about Kim Kardashian? I sent a tweet. I don't know what happened to that tweet. I know it got retweeted a lot. I don't know where it went and who picked it up. I'm not going to pull that stunt. I'm going to take credit for it. No. I'm not going to take credit for it unless Kim Kardashian comes to my show and says, I saw the tweet you did. That's why, then I'll take the credit for it. But no, as far as I know, it just got around and it got retweeted. So, yeah, I'm not pulling one of those. If it's not me, no, not doing it. I'm glad Melissa's getting this warranty. But yes, and it needs more. It should have happened a long time ago. A president since wife is driving. Cool, John. Awesome. Yeah, just rest up, man. Tomorrow, we'll talk tomorrow. I'm glad you're here. Everybody's sending positive messages. I know you can see him. Everyone, John Lucio is here. He's in his car on his way home. The wife is driving, so he's checking us out for a little bit. Sorry, no, it's cool, Veronica. No, that's okay. Don't worry about it. We can decipher it pretty much. Prayers are with you and your family. That's from Sharky, John. Hey, Stephanie. She's been here for 15 years. Tells you something. We've wasted so much tax money on her. It doesn't work that way, actually. Believe it or not. It doesn't work that way. The money does not come from our taxes for that. It does not. And that show I'll do on Thursday so you can see how that works. Gonna try to educate you a little bit on how that whole process is. Praying for the Lucio family. Thank you, Lauren. As always, yep. Thank you, everybody. That's from John. Point of no return. Hey there, Roxanne. Hello, welcome. Child Kid's a big factor in this. Yes, he's the next one. He's going to be coming up probably next week, over the weekend, maybe next week. And want to hear the story of Charles Keith and his brother. His brother was on death row. His sentence was commuted to life. Still, we're looking at somebody who is not guilty, and they're trying to get him out. Again, same thing having to do with evidence. Isabel says, hey, John, I'll call my cousin Kim K to tweet. Yeah, call her up. Call her up. Have her people call my people, and then my people get a hold of everybody else's people. And we'll keep moving it that way. I believe she saw John Lucio's Twitter. Yeah, a bunch of us tweeted, sent tweets. I don't know, tweeted the right way. And who knows? It'd be nice. She has pull. She's helped people before. And just the fact that she acknowledges and wrote something on it, it's pretty awesome. Edema says, prayers, John, for all. Corina, hi, John, prayers for your mom and family. John, praying for you and your mom, hijo, from Trisha. Good night. Thanks for all the support. I love you, and you too, Manny. Hey, just here to help, buddy. Trying, honestly, to help. Everybody's pulling for your mom. Good night, John. Get some rest, man. Get some rest. We'll continue tomorrow for a little bit. Selena spent the last 4 months with Mariah while she was abused. Went throughout this whole time. She had stated Mariah was with them for 2 to 2.5 months. Brought her up to her attention, and privately ran prison is no bueno. Actually, the way they do it is interesting. I don't want to give it all away because then nobody will watch Thursday, right? Wendy says, John, we're praying for you and your family. Awesome. Hilda Garcia, blessings, John. She said that she just found out that it was 4 months from her mom's lawyer. Yet we are to believe she remembers the abuse, but not the time frame. Yeah. It goes back to Selena complaining to Sabrina, the filmmaker, why didn't you put my segment in the documentary? And if you watch my interview, I should post that. With Sabrina, you'll see that Sabrina states why she didn't put Selena's and there was another brother, I think it was Richard, why she didn't use their interviews. And again, I don't want to use this to point fingers and stuff. I think the matter at hand is Melissa and getting her out of prison, off death row at the very, very least. There is yet another privately ran prison in Willoughby County being shut down. Yeah, there's a thing that was happening in Pennsylvania, Kids for Cash. That's a whole situation. I've been reading over it little by little. There's a lot going on there too, and that's bad, not good. People making money, pockets being filled, sending kids to prison when they don't, for minor infractions, and they're being sent to prison. And every time a kid goes into prison, pockets get filled. It's all about cash. The only thing that has me thinking is Melissa Lucio had to see all those bruises on me. Those bruises were not there. If you didn't watch last night, Roxanne, I don't know if you guys want me to play that video again. The bruises happened from brain damage. So even if there was an injury 6 months ago, and then there was brain damage, recently, and in this case she died, well, all those areas that are not able to clot and bruising appears everywhere, and it looks like somebody that beat the crap out of her, but that's not what happened. I'm thinking about playing that video again. You're gonna make me do it, aren't you? I know you are. It's informative. I think it's important. Free Melissa and compensate her Montreal bus. Yeah. Thanks to everyone that tagged or tweeted Kim Kardashian, though. Yes, right? Thank you, everyone. From John. Hey, man, we're pulling for you. You know that. Hey, that Abe? Death penalty action. You want to come and talk to us for a bit, Abe? Or is that Charles? Who's there? Anyway, why does the Pro Bowl wait until the last minute? I wish I could answer that. In some cases, it's because they don't get the information until, everybody's pushing for a last minute appeal, a last minute, come on, look at this. In this case, that stuff's been there for a long time. It's already been presented. They've got it. They've turned over what they have to show. Oh, okay. We're going to get Abe to join us here in a minute. Hang on a second. All righty. And all right, I just sent you a link. Okay. I just sent you a link, buddy. Yeah, I don't know why they wait. It's sometimes if it's a lot of evidence, a lot of things to ponder, it takes a while to look through all that. She has so many inconsistencies that when you bring it up to her, she gets so defensive. I pray Melissa is granted a stay, a new trial, something she doesn't deserve to die. Yeah, a lot of inconsistencies. And again, I don't want to point fingers and that whole kind of thing. It's just, that's for another time. That's for somebody else's job. Right now, let's focus on getting Melissa justice, and baby Mariah too. And we mentioned Melissa because she's the one that we're trying to prevent from being executed. So, we have not forgotten about baby Mariah at all. Will Alfredo Padilla and Peter Gilman be held accountable? Good question, Mateo. That's a damn good question. School to prison pot man. Let's see. Hey, buddy.
Hello. Good evening.
Ooh, you're loud, super loud. Put that microphone off, away from you just a little bit.
How's that?
Yeah, it's better. Good.
Okay.
Everyone, this is Abraham from the Death Penalty Action Organization, and a leader in the Free Melissa Lucio campaign, and him and his people are doing a whole lot, making a lot of noise. What's your take on Kim Kardashian?
Well, we've been waiting, and she showed up. So, she's also on Charles Keith's brother's case and Joyce Jones' case, and I guess she's been busy, but now she's present on this case, and that's bringing a lot of attention, and it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I tweeted a bunch of people. Anybody else that you guys have tweeted in addition to I talked about Susan Sarandon, I tweeted Marianne Williamson, Eva Longoria.
Mandy Patinkin has been sharing our stuff from the Free Melissa Lucio campaign. We've got a couple of other people that have started to come on board. Carmela Zumbardo, I don't know if you know her. She's on a Netflix program.
Who is that? Who's that?
Her name is Carmela Zumbardo, I think, something like that. And we're going to be doing some Instagram lives with some of these celebrities. I'm told that's not my department. I just say go do it, and they do it.
Yeah.
It's everybody's got something to bring to the table. But if you can raise the awareness in your own community, whatever that community is, then that's what it's all about. So we've all been waiting though for someone like Kim to get on board and just push it out there, and that's 20 million people that are going to see it.
Yeah.
When she says that, and then of course it brings a lot of attention, and the media, you get the headlines. But it's also, everyday people like those of us who've been camped out at the courthouse and connecting with the prosecutor and finding ways to reach out to him, and everybody that's writing to the governor and the board of pardons and paroles. I just was saying to somebody, may yours be the letter that sinks the ship.
Yeah.
It takes one, at some point, one more feather is all it takes.
Right.
And we just have to keep putting our feathers on and everybody doing their piece. And
Yeah.
that's what we've been at. And that's why I was so grateful to you, Manny, for just keeping, just keep telling the story and sharing with people the opportunities to help. And that's why, I mean, it's really important that Texans are the people whose voices are being heard.
Yeah.
And in Cameron County, that people are calling and writing to the district attorney. And I just started a campaign the other day, and it's on the webpage. There are 4 jurors that have
Yeah.
come forth, plus one of the alternates who did not end up deliberating. That's 5 people that heard all the evidence that was presented, who now say if they knew then what they know now, they may not have voted to convict or
Right.
sentence
And we
him.
wouldn't be in this position right now.
That's right. So
Yeah.
that op-ed was printed on Sunday in the Houston Chronicle.
Yeah.
And if you go to freemelisolucio.org and click on the What You Can Do tab, and then you take it down to the Contact Government Officials, and then find the part about Cameron County District Attorney Louis Sines, that's where you can get a direct link to it. But we also give his address, and we're asking people to print that out and write a quick note on it and put it in the postal mail. And already I know of hundreds of
Mhm.
people around the country, and even from other countries as far away as Japan and Ireland and Germany, who have done that, so that he can understand. Because that's what, when we connected with him in the parking lot across the street from the courthouse, he had a conversation with John,
Yeah.
and he said, yes, I want to look at that. And, so what's the wait?
Yeah.
He's got the keys. I mean, literally, this is the guy who unilaterally, without needing any, without needing anybody's permission, the district attorney of Cameron County can withdraw this execution warrant and order a reinvestigation of this case. And
So that's where it's, as of right now, he's got the power to do that. He doesn't need to wait for the governor or any of that stuff.
No. He's the one individual. See, the governor can't act alone. The governor has to have a recommendation of the Board of Pardons and Paroles.
Right.
He can act alone to temporarily delay it, right? He can whisper to the courts, "Hey, get this off my desk," and the courts can order an evidentiary hearing. And then there's months, or like what happened in the Rodney Reed case, because of COVID, it got delayed almost 2 years.
Hmm.
But then they have a hearing, and they can hear all the new evidence and decide whether it warrants a new trial. And we can, and that'd be great. Well, that's what we want, is a new trial. But the fastest and the most expeditious we could be is if the district attorney says, you know what, now I'm concerned. That's why we're saying watch the film.
Yeah.
We believe anybody that watches the film will at least come away with doubt,
Yeah.
if not being convinced. I know it took you watching it a couple of times,
Yeah.
and having a conversation with the director and challenging her every which way. And people can find that show and watch it, because Sabrina just spells it all out. But let's put it all in front of the courts. And the fastest way to do that will be for the DA to reinvestigate. But I think if they reinvestigate that case and they'll see there is no evidence of a murder. They'll see that there's no crime that occurred. Or if there was a crime, it was neglect, right?
Yeah.
But she'd already, the children had been removed from the house because of neglect, not because of drug abuse, not because of child abuse, because of neglect. And but then they were put back. So what did she do? And her then partner, husband, whatever it was, what did they do that warranted Child Protective Services saying, okay, you can have your kids back?
Yeah.
right? Somehow they met the bar, wherever that bar is. So the kids are back, and then this accident happens, and that's, we all know the story now. But if we could, if there could be a reinvestigation, number one, they can see, as you were just explaining a few minutes ago, how the bruising happened. They can see, uh, how the broken arm happened, or maybe at least understand it and when it happened. We know now, as the Child Protective Services documented repeated head injuries that Mariah
Right.
had, and we can see and explain, the forensic science can explain how that bruising came about, and how it comes from a brain injury, a traumatic brain injury, not from multiple beatings and that sort of thing.
Right.
And we can show that in court, and then Melissa can come home. You know,
So one question was, at the very minimum, we're looking to get a stay first of all to stop the date from happening, right?
well, the courts can issue a stay. The district attorney can withdraw the execution warrant, which also stops the whole process, and then he can order a reinvestigation of the case. If the courts don't issue a stay and the DA doesn't stop it, then it goes to the Board of Pardons and Paroles. And they announced last week that they're going to wait until 2 days before the execution date to take a vote on this. And so they've already got the clemency package from the defense side. Who knows what the state's going to put forth, but then those members of the Board of Pardons and Paroles, and that's another piece of the action that we've got, is we're inviting people to write letters directly to the members of the Board of Pardons and Paroles,
Right.
and ask them to watch the film, ask them to consider all those different little arguments. There's a letter writing template again, freemelissalucio.org. Click on what you
Yeah.
can do, get the letter writing template, and that's just a guide. We're not telling you what to say. We're just, here's who to write to, here's
Yeah.
the kinds of things that you could say, um, and so they'll have to look at it. And I gotta say, the Board of Pardons and Paroles is appointed by the governor, right?
Yeah.
And their job generally is to be gatekeepers, to keep the governor from having to make these hard decisions by just issuing blanket no's. And that's generally what they do. They have denied clemency 573 times. We've had 573 executions in Texas since 1982. And exactly three clemencies that cannot happen without a recommendation for clemency. What I'm not sure, what I don't know about, is if there were any recommendations for clemency that were still denied.
Hmm.
In other states, like in Ohio, for example, where I live, there has to be a hearing of the pardon board, but then the governor can decide to do whatever he or she wants, and they'll have to follow that recommendation. In Texas, the governor can only act if he gets a yes recommendation.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, then the other question is, why? Shoot. What was the question? Oh, why does the in your with your experience, a department like pardons and paroles, do they always take it up to the last day before they make a ruling on it?
Um, they don't have to, but my understanding is that they have until 8 days before the execution date for the parties to submit their filings on this. Now, the defense submitted its clemency application early because they wanted to make sure there was plenty of time
Hmm.
for them to consider all the evidence. We started in January a year ago with our campaign to ask the Board of Pardons and Paroles to watch the film. That's our petition that we have on at deathpenaltyaction.org and at freemelissalucio.org. That's what the petition asks of the governor, the Board of Pardons and Paroles, and the DA. Watch the film,
Yep.
because that is evidence. It spells it all out.
Yeah, and I heard, Sabrina, that the film is going to be airing on network TV over in in France.
That happened this evening.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
So now, what are they, 5 or 6 hours ahead of us? So it's done,
yeah,
and that's pretty big.
yeah, yeah. It's like if they put it on NBC or something over here, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Now the only problem is, of course, that's in France, and
Yeah,
what we need is for that to happen, and we've done our best to have that happen in Texas. Um, you can now go to your public library if you've got a public library card, a membership of your local public library. There's an app that you use through that to watch films and to borrow movies, and it's available there free of charge,
yep,
or Hulu or Amazon Prime, or I mean, it's, again, freemulusolucio.org. Click on watch the film, and it'll
yeah,
give you all the different ways you can watch the film. For
yeah. I
various
even, I
prices.
even, I even streamed it here last week, maybe over a week ago, and streamed it with commentary.
Mhm.
It's still there, so you can watch it there as well.
And that's
Um,
that's the thing. We negotiated. We had, you might remember, we had 2 days, March 7th and 8th, where the excuse me, the film distributors made it available free of charge on the web page,
mm,
which is pretty amazing, because they bought the rights. They're entitled to make the money.
yeah,
Um, but they opened it for 2 days, and then they've also waived the fees for any public screenings of the film. So normally, when you take a copyrighted film and you want to hold a public showing of it, you got to pay some sort of fee,
yeah.
and they've waived all that. So in fact, there's going to be a showing Friday in, I think, in McAllen. Let me just look real quick. Uh, Mark Vasquez is organizing this, and it is, uh, yeah, in McAllen at the Cine El Rey Theater at
It,
7 p.m. I think it's free, and that's at 311 South 17th Street in McAllen. You can go and watch it in the theater, and there's going to be a showing also. Um, there'll be a panel discussion after that. There'll be another showing on the 14th at, let's see, where's that? That's
I think they know where it's at, but
at
I'll
the
look it up here.
University of Texas Rio Grande Valley in Edinburgh. That's
3111 South 17th Street in McAllen. Cena Del
yeah.
Rey. Yeah.
And so on the 14th, there's going to be a panel moderated by the Center for American Studies and the Department of Criminal Justice at the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley in Edinburgh. That's going to be on the 14th. They're going to have a panel discussion and show the film. And that's just down there. We're also exploring we're going to try to show it. We have this idea of actually trying to, what do you call it, project it onto the side of the courthouse from that parking lot on the
Oh
side.
yeah.
And I don't think anybody's going to let us do that, but maybe we just don't ask permission, just go do it. But we're going to try to
Mm,
show it publicly in a park or somewhere in Brownsville, just to make it possible for anybody who wants to watch it to come watch it.
yeah. That would be awesome. Yeah, I don't know what the legality is of projecting it onto a county building, but
Can't be illegal. You just have to have, I guess, they don't have to let you do, work in their parking lot. You
right.
know, so
Yeah,
uh,
that would be awesome. It'd be nice. Was there a thought of doing anything in Harlingen also?
and you know, yes, there was an attempt that may be resurrected to show it. There's a place where they show films like it on a wall on the side of a building, and for whatever reason that didn't work out when we were trying to do it. I think we were trying to just move too quickly.
Hmm.
And what it takes is somebody who's got the patience and the wherewithal to put that sort of thing together and then get people there. Um,
Yeah.
so and you can watch it for free, and it's not uh, you know it's not James Bond. It's not some big fun film. It's a documentary about death and dying and prison and corruption,
Yeah.
so you got to be in the mood for that sort of thing, right? But you can watch it at home at your leisure, and don't cost nothing other than $5.99 or whatever it is on Hulu,
Yeah.
or come out and sit with a bunch of other people. So none of the screenings that I'm aware of have been filled to the room filled up, except for in classrooms where that's what we call a captive audience. The people are there for class, and the teachers, the professors are showing it. But
When
that's
it,
happening all over the country.
when is that happening in McAllen? Is that what day is that? Because I do want
McAllen
to.
is the 8th. It's Friday this week.
Yeah, I definitely got to put that out there at the scene of the
So
way.
put
Okay.
that out there, and we'll get there'll be social media advertising and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, last
So,
night we played a bunch of clips. I was kind of in an argument with someone who was just saying, yeah, she deserves what she gets early in the day, and then I was trying to educate the guy throughout the day, responding back and forth with comments. So did a show last night, ended up being just about that. We played clips from the movie. We
mhm.
played a lot of the deleted scenes that Sabrina has on her website, and it did. Wendy in the comments says it was enlightening, and I think it opened a lot of eyes as to what the bruises actually were. Not what people say the bruises were, and hearing from that medical examiner and hearing from some of the families themselves, the other daughters, the siblings, and hearing from
Mhm.
Lynn Marie Garcia, and so it's a thing that people don't know. That a lot of people are making comments out there and speaking of it, and they know nothing about the case at all whatsoever.
Yeah, well, I have a friend who basically says, she didn't watch her kids carefully enough. Doesn't matter what happened, she's guilty of something and she needs to be punished. And I thought, that's pretty crazy. I mean, your kid can be in the backyard playing and can have an accident. And
Yeah.
how many of us watch our children every second? Now, granted, when they're babies, obviously you try to protect them. But my kid was the one that was not on the swing set on the swing. He was walking on the top of it, and I'm like, I keep telling him, don't break your neck until after you're 18, because you know that's a joke, right? But at the end of the day, we can't control what happens. And my kid has fallen and hit his head. I mean, I think our stitch count is 27 now. Not all
Oh
hit
man.
injuries, but this is a kid that gets out there and does stuff. And, he's tripped and hit his first three stitches. He tripped and hit his head on a coffee table,
Mm.
and had to go to the emergency room. They had to wrap him up like a swaddle, like a baby, so they could stitch him without him, fighting them.
Oh boy. Yeah.
And that was not the pain. It was just him being scared of being there and not
Right.
knowing. I mean, he was only 3 when that happened, but the point is, I was sitting right there, and he did that right in front of me, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. So if you're going to be held responsible for something that you have no control over, then there's a lot more people that should be in jail or on death row, right?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. We wouldn't have enough buildings to house everybody.
Yeah, but we should just execute them in the streets or something like that. I'm
Yeah.
being facetious
Oh
there,
yeah. Yeah.
but the point is, when you have somebody that's saying that, you know, the police always get it right, the courts always get it right, therefore, if she was convicted, then they must have got it right, and therefore she deserves whatever she gets coming. You know, Anybody that thinks that has never really had an encounter with the legal system in this country. We know they
Yeah.
make mistakes, and we know what matters most is how much money you have walking in the door. Who's your attorney? What's your attorney's agenda?
Right.
That's one reason why you're going to hear at some point from Ed Stapleton, who represented the other person charged in this case, and that guy got 4 years. 4 years versus a death sentence, equal culpability.
Mm.
How do you
Yeah.
get that? I
I
mean,
th-
four
yeah.
years is too much either, but it's because if you have the right attorney, and Peter Gilman probably was a pretty good attorney too, maybe, but he was
I
in.
don't think so.
Well, I don't either, but what I do know is that he finished up that case and went to work in the DA's office, and he's still working in the DA's office. And you come
Yeah,
down and stand vigil with us in front of the courthouse, and you'll see him walking out to lunch.
and we did. Yeah,
And
yep,
you remember that?
yep,
And yeah, but somehow it was the deal was made for you know, I mean, and this is conjecture. I can't prove this, but it seems like he threw that case.
yeah,
He set it up. Why didn't he call any of the siblings, including the one who saw Mariah fall down the stairs?
yeah,
Why? And one of the suspicions that Charles, you said you're going to have Charles Keith on the case. He knows how to investigate and find stuff, and he did, and came across these documents from the Child Protective Services that show what happened to Mariah in the custody of foster
in
care,
foster care, right?
right?
Yes,
And that's if that's the kind of thing that goes on, then you don't want to. He knew that if he brought that in, then all of those files would come out, and we would see what's happening and what did happen in the care of Child Protective Services, which should not be allowing a situation like that.
yeah,
And you know that's that's what we all have to just be aware of. I'm not saying that everybody in government and everybody in all these services are bad, but things happen, and you know you can't just put it all back on somebody who's defenseless, who has no money, who can be cajoled into confessing to something she didn't do.
yeah. It's man, so many things. Like Sabrina said, so many things that went wrong, and just one little change could have turned this whole thing in a different direction.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen. It did not
I'll
happen.
tell you what, if she had just invoked her rights not to speak. You all
Yeah,
heard that speech that they give you when you're arrested. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, one will be provided for you. Well, my
yeah,
friend George White, who thought that he had nothing to hide, he now says, well, say he was wrongly convicted in the murder of his wife and shooting himself 3 times in the same incident.
mm,
Um, and it took them over a year to come and arrest him, but and he was ultimately exonerated completely by the courts. This is in Alabama, and he says if you have the right to remain silent, if you give up that right, you have no others.
yeah.
Because it's true. Anything you say or do can and will be used against you in court.
And
So
they sure did, didn't they?
yeah. So the number one thing to do if you're ever encountering the police, and this is not about getting away with anything or playing games, just it's your civil rights and legal rights by virtue of living in this country. There's a reason we have these rights. It's because they're obviously necessary, and that right is to remain silent and to not become a witness or a witness against yourself, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I can tell you, I had. So I've been running anti-death penalty organizations. I'm on my second one. We had one from 1997 to about 2005 before took a job somewhere else to do this work for somebody else for a while. But one day I went to my post office box, and it was at one of those mailbox, etc. places, and there
Mhm.
was a package. It was a wrapped in brown paper, and there was all that was on was my address, handwritten. There was no return address, no postage, no nothing. I said, "Well, this is strange." I said this to the clerk. I said, "What do you think I should do?" She said, "Well, take it over to the police station." So I did, and it was a Saturday, so it's closed. But I picked up the phone, and I told them, "Hey, I've got this package. What should I do?" They said, "Put it down, walk away." And suddenly you got the bomb squad, and everybody's there. And uh, anyway, they took me aside to interview me.
Mhm.
What did it feel like? What's who's after you? Why would this happen? And then a second officer interviewed me separately, And then those two officers compared notes. And next thing I know, one of them's coming at me, well, you told this guy one thing and you told me a slightly different way of saying exactly the same thing. But
Mhm.
that enough was enough for them to suddenly suspect that somehow I had lied to them and I was responsible for this.
Yeah.
It didn't go very far at all, but but the fact is that I learned an important lesson there, that that's why they have several different people talk to you, and then they compare notes to figure out, because all they need is one incident where
Yeah.
they found a discrepancy in your story, and
Right.
suddenly you're a liar.
Yeah.
And once they have you as a liar, then everything you say is a lie, and then they can make up whatever story they want, and that's as good as whatever you said because you're a liar.
Yeah. Do you know any? I'm going to ask Lynn Marie Garcia. Somebody brought up the question yesterday that they thought it was a, I don't know if it's a law, but if someone who does not have a criminal record at all, that would not make them eligible for the death penalty. Are
I
you?
don't know anything. I don't think that's the case. I don't know. I'm not a
Yeah.
lawyer myself, but no. If what makes you eligible for the death penalty is committing murder. Although there's actually some crimes that don't necessarily involve a direct murder, such as being a drug kingpin is punishable by death.
Hmm.
So they don't have to actually have you convicted of a confirmed murder. So, but that's a federal thing. Now you have to commit a murder, and it has to be aggravated murder. It has to
Hmm.
be not just, most murders are not punishable by death, and of those that are, many don't even go to they don't seek the death penalty at trial. This is one of the reasons why I came to oppose the death penalty, because the the way it breaks down, the four words carved into the face of the U.S. Supreme Court building are equal justice under law, and we know we don't have that. And a good example was my experience in New Jersey. I was the field director in a campaign that saw New Jersey become the first state to abolish the death penalty legislatively since 1964 or something like that. We did that in
Hmm.
2007. I became part of the team in that campaign in 2005. And in 1982, when New Jersey's death penalty law was written, from then until 2004, there had been, I don't know how many murders, but where they caught somebody, which is only about half the time that they actually
Hmm.
catch somebody in a murder. Of all those murders where they caught somebody, they were death eligible in only 630 cases. Okay, so all the murders where they
Hmm.
catch somebody, death eligible, 630. Out of those 630 cases, they tried for the death penalty 230 times. So roughly a third of the cases they tried for it. Out of those cases, in 25%, about in 60 cases, they got a death sentence.
Hmm.
Okay. And by the time we abolished the death penalty in New Jersey, they never had an execution. But by the time we abolished the death penalty, 52 of those 60 cases had been overturned. Not the
Oh
conviction,
wow.
but the sentence, right?
Yeah.
So now we're down to, but when we abolished the death penalty in New Jersey, out of 630 cases where they could have sought the death penalty, 230 where they did try for it, 60 where they got it, 8 were still on death row. The others had had their sentences overturned and they got resentenced to something other than death. So that's a little over 1% of the people who were death eligible ending
Yeah.
up on death row and staying there to that point. And the question we have to ask is, were they the worst of the worst? Or were they the ones with the worst attorneys or the worst circumstances?
Yeah.
Um, and there was a great piece of testimony that came out. There was a whole study commission that met 5 times and took testimony in New Jersey. So I was there through all of those. And there was a woman had gone through, a researcher had gone through and looked at all those 630 cases. And then I have this printed out here somewhere. Uh, 2 pages of transcript from that, which just speaks to me, that she said, here's so and so who was on death row in New Jersey for a gas station robbery that went bad and he murdered the gas station attendant. But here's so and 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 this guy and that guy and the other guy who did this robbery, that robbery, this I mean like 10 other gas station robberies that resulted in homicides, some of them sounding far worse, more victims, more, prolonged death, all that sort of thing,
Yeah.
that did not result in a death sentence. Why not? Okay, it all has to do with what county you're killing, with how much money that prosecutor has to work with how much money your defense has, with the skin color, the race of the victim, the race of the perpetrator, how many cops are there and prosecutors that are willing to hide evidence or lie or anything like that, which is not to say that all law enforcement are bad or all law enforcement cheat, but it does happen.
Yeah.
And uh, anyway, she just had this. It was the most striking testimony because it just laid the whole thing bare. It doesn't matter that you did something; it's all these other circumstances that line up to decide you're the one we're going to kill.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's a complicated process. It's not, it's not. I want to say it should be textbook, but it really isn't. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
You know,
the
it,
unfortunate
it's
part.
it's just it's just frightening, and you know what I want to say, and actually the reason I saw that you were live and I wanted to pop in is just to say, you know, we do a live Zoom
Yeah.
normally every Saturday evening. You were on one of those,
Yep.
but we did one today because John came. He got a longer visit than normal on Saturday night, so he wasn't able to come on. We still did the program, and you can find these videos on the Free Melissa Lucio Facebook page, and but we did one tonight, and John was just so joyful about, and he talked about Melissa being so joyful. And this is the most recent letter that she wrote to me. You can see it's edge to edge, top to bottom, 3 pages,
Wow.
um, and most of this is just how appreciative she is for everybody that's working to help free her, and how the vision that she has of a joyous life in freedom. You know, I I've been doing this work a long time, Manny, and often I just try to put myself in the place of a person living in a room the size of your bathroom,
Yeah.
never going out, or if you get to go out, it's just for a couple hours a week. You're always handcuffed, always under supervision, never getting real human interaction. Uh, just imagine the last time you walked on grass.
Mm.
And what if that was going to be 30 years before you could do that again, if ever? I often people think that prison is a cakewalk, and those are people who've never been incarcerated. Because when's the last time you had to see a doctor? What did you do? You went to the urgent care, or you called up and got an appointment and went and saw your doctor, or you went to the ER and you got treated. If you're on death row or in maximum security prison and you need something, you're lucky to get an aspirin, and it might take 2 or 3 weeks before you see somebody because you have to apply. And I mean, every place is a little bit different, but just really for me, when's the last time you had a hankering for a pizza and you just pick up the phone and you order a pizza
Yep.
and it comes to your door, or you go out, you want to have ice cream, put on your shoes, walk down the street to the ice cream parlor and get some ice cream. That's not how it is when you're in prison.
Yeah.
You get very little choice,
Yeah.
and it's all jumping through hoops. And meanwhile, you're looking over your shoulder all the time because there's Bubba over there, and he needs a new girlfriend, so to speak. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
you don't want to have to live it. Who wants to live like that? Who thinks that that's a picnic?
Yeah. No, definitely not. Definitely not.
And there are people who deserve whatever they get coming. I don't shed any tears for them in prison, but I do think that there's has to be some room for compassion and forgiveness and healing, and prison is about making us safe from people who have done dangerous things and holding people accountable. But it's not about torture, and it's not about making things as bad as possible,
Yeah.
because that's not the society that we want to be. You know, I don't want to live in that society. I want to be able to be safe, but I don't think that we have to torture people in order to do that.
Well, there are definitely some people who don't belong on this planet. I just leave it at that.
Yeah,
Um,
not like God sort them out, right?
yeah, I don't know if you saw John was here. He was commenting with
Yeah,
the crowd. With the crowd,
I was waving at you over on the Facebook broadcast, and you were watching the. I figured out you were watching the YouTube, and so I popped over here to the YouTube. But anyway,
yeah.
I'll let you go unless you have any other questions I can try to answer. Or,
No, no, not right now. John's gonna be with me tomorrow for a little bit in the afternoon once he's done packing and getting ready for. Because I know he. Oh, do you know where he's speaking at on Thursday in Dallas?
oh yes, yes. So
People from the area were asking, and they'd
nope,
like to
it's
attend if possible.
at City Hall at 6 p.m.
In Dallas.
in Dallas. Dallas City Hall is going to be with several Texas state legislators and other government leaders that are going to be a part of that, as well as a number of different activists that are going to be part of that. And organizations. The event is sponsored and pulled together by a group called Somos Texas, and you can find it on their webpage. You can find it on our Facebook and Twitter. Um, and I guess I should see if it's on the calendar page. It should be on the freemelissalucio.org. But yeah, they're flying up. He and Michelle are taking their first plane trip ever.
Oh, they're
They've,
flying. Oh,
they've,
okay,
they've
good.
yeah, they've never been on a plane, so they're flying from Harlingen to Dallas, and they'll have that opportunity to to see things a little bit differently. And I took them all on a whole bunch of the family on a media tour that we did around Texas, um, and like Nessa Escamilla had never been you know, much further than San Antonio. And we got
Mm.
her all the way went up to Dallas, over to Abilene and Odessa before heading back down. And anyway, they'll be up there, and that's at 6 p.m. on Thursday at the Dallas City Hall
Awesome.
outside.
Yeah, I'll try to find a page. I know on their page itself, it's almost Tejas. It's not on there, but maybe it's on their social media page, perhaps.
Yeah, and it's on our social media. If you go to
Okay.
throughmelissalucio.org, we're actually co-hosts on the Facebook event, um, so you'll find it there. And then, what else has he got? They're doing a private gathering on Saturday. That's part of a training for young people that are engaged in this work. And then I'll be home. And then next week, um, I'm speaking at a law school conference in Beaumont at Lamar uh, Law School, but they're not coming to that. They'll be. I think the next public thing is going to be the 14th at Edinburgh at the Texas State University, whatever that is, in the university in Edinburgh. So that's
UTRGV. Yeah.
yeah, I think it's. We'll have to find out what time that is, but that's happening. Uh, you know, and we're trying not to put too much on them because it's already a lot of pressure. I mean, how much pressure would you be if your mother was facing being executed, right?
Yeah.
So, uh, but there's a few things in for folks in Dallas, and hopefully that thing in Dallas will be live streamed so we can all see it. Uh, I'm kind of disappointed because I can't get myself there, but
Mm.
you know that's the good news is I don't need to be there for people to do good work, and I'm just glad to have been able to provide some resources to help make these things happen.
Yeah, if they do stream it, will definitely stream that live for sure. So I'll
Yeah,
see what I can find out tomorrow. Uh,
yeah. Well, I'll text Carmen Ayala is the young woman that's putting that together, and surely somebody who will be there will stream it, and I'll try to figure out if I can get them to stream it on our page and on through Melissa Lucio.
awesome. Hey, thanks for coming on for a little while. I know it's
Of
late,
course.
but much appreciated.
Um,
Everyone likes to hear from you. So
Well,
Like I
happy
said,
to do it anytime.
tomorrow, like I said, we'll have John on. I'm going to try to get Lynn Marie Garcia. She doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to try to have her on tomorrow night as well.
Okay.
And so we'll see how that goes.
What time did you tell? What time did John?
I'm not sure. It depends on when they're done packing and kind of settle down, and they got a few minutes. Hopefully, he can be on for about a half an hour or so. But he just told me he will as soon as they're done getting settled.
If you text me when you know that's going to happen, then I'll get on and share the live stream.
Okay, awesome. Will do.
Okay.
All right, everyone, have a great night. Thank you for hanging out with us. This was a nice surprise to hear from Abe with the death penalty action and freemilitialucio.org. And again, we'll be talking about this more often and from here for the next couple of weeks for sure, waiting on some good news. So tomorrow we'll have John Lucio. Abe will probably be back with us. And then I'll talk to Lynn Marie Garcia, see if I can prod her into coming on board with us also. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.